In Module 1, we laid the foundation for human biology, talking about chemicals, cells, and tissues. We then talked about our most basic organ system, the integumentary system, or skin. In Module 2, we covered the body in motion, studying the bones and the muscles that work together to help us move. In this module, Module 3, we're going to talk about the control systems of the body, the nervous system and the endocrine system. Our nervous system has two main branches. It's got the central nervous system, which is our brain and our spinal cord, and then it's got the peripheral nervous system, which are the nerves of our body. The nervous system is made up of two kinds of cells. Neurons, these are the cells that do most of the work, so you can think of them more like the superhero cells. And then we've got glia. These are more support cells, and you can think of them like the sidekicks. The nervous system functions to integrate stimuli from the world and decide on a response. We have sensory receptors in places like our eyes and our ears that take in sensation, and they send it to our central nervous system, our spinal cord and brain, which will then perceive that information and decide and send out a response. Say you're on the soccer team and your eyes take in the visual cue that a soccer ball is flying towards you. Your brain will process that visual stimuli, hey, that's a soccer ball, and it will decide on a course of action, and it will send that information from your brain down your spinal cord all the way to your leg, telling the muscles of your leg to contract, allowing you to kick. These outputs and responses are either voluntary in our somatic system or involuntary, the autonomic system, meaning that they're either under conscious control, like kicking that ball, or unconscious control, things that happen without thought, something like your hands start to sweat when you get nervous. Let's talk briefly about those superhero cells I mentioned, the neurons. They have fast electrical chemical signaling. In the time it takes for you to think, kick, your leg is already moving. That signal has traveled from your brain down your spinal cord all the way to your foot, like that. In biology, the electrical part comes from the movement of ions, particularly sodium and potassium. At rest, the neuron has a separation of charge, a polarization, like a battery does, with a positive charge on the outside and a negative charge on the inside. When the neuron needs to signal, that separation of charge changes. And so we have sodium, remember has a positive charge, is going to rush into the cell, making the inside positive instead of negative like it usually is. We call this first step a depolarization. Then potassium will flow out of the cell, bringing that positive charge outside again. This is the repolarization step. An action potential is when we have a wave of positive charge, a wave of sodium coming in, potassium going out, a wave of depolarization, repolarization that moves down a neuron fast. At the end of the neuron, this is where we get a switch from electrical signaling to chemical signaling. The neuron is going to release a chemical called a neurotransmitter, and it will tell nearby neurons, hey, it's time for you to fire an action potential. It's time for you to have some electrical signaling. In this video, we discussed the organization and the function of the nervous system, and then dove into neurons, explaining how they communicate so quickly. In the next video, we'll cover the anatomy of our nervous system, paying particular attention to our brain.